The cake candles flickered as Easton blew them out, his heart full of hope for the night ahead. But when his boyfriend Wyatt stood up and laughed off the question about their relationship, claiming they were just friends, Easton's world came crashing down in an instant. The small apartment in downtown Chicago overflowed with laughter and the scent of vanilla frosting. Easton's parents had flown in from Ohio, his sister had driven up from Indianapolis, and a handful of close friends circled the living room clapping as he made his wish. At 25, he thought this birthday would mark the beginning of something real. He and Wyatt had been together for almost 2 years in secret stolen weekends in Milwaukee, quiet evenings where they could finally hold each other without glancing over their shoulders. Tonight, Easton had decided it was time. He had pictured Wyatt taking his hand in front of everyone, finally stepping into the light together. Instead, Wyatt's easy chuckle cut through the room like a blade. Just buddies from the gym, right, Easton? No way this guy settles down anytime soon. Wyatt's voice carried that familiar charm, the same tone that had first drawn Easton in during a late-night study session at the university library. But now it felt hollow. Easton's mother tilted her head, smiling politely, while his father nodded, as if the answer made perfect sense. No one noticed the way Easton's smile froze or how his fingers tightened around the edge of the table. He forced a laugh too, pretending the joke landed, but inside something fractured. Later, when the last guest had left and the apartment grew quiet, Easton cornered Wyatt in the tiny kitchen. "What was that?" His voice came out sharper than he intended. Wyatt sighed, running a hand through his sandy hair, the same hair Easton had run his fingers through just last night. "You know how it is, man. Your dad was staring at me like he already had wedding invitations printed. I panicked." "Panicked? We've talked about this. I told you I was ready." Easton stepped closer, searching Wyatt's blue eyes for the man he thought he knew. Wyatt looked away toward the window where city lights blurred in the rain. "My promotion at the firm is hanging by a thread. Clients like stability, traditional stability. If word gets out." He trailed off, the sentence unfinished but the meaning clear. Easton felt the weight of it settle in his chest like concrete. The argument escalated quickly, words flying that neither could take back. Wyatt accused Easton of pushing too hard. Easton accused Wyatt of cowardice. By the time the door slammed behind Wyatt, Easton stood alone, surrounded by half-eaten cake and crumpled wrapping paper. He sank onto the couch, replaying every moment of the evening, the denial, the laughter, the casual erasure of 2 years of love. Sleep never came that night. Instead, Easton stared at the ceiling, replaying every stolen kiss, every whispered promise, now tainted by public rejection. Morning brought no relief. His phone buzzed with messages from friends who had sensed the tension but didn't understand it. His sister texted asking if everything was okay. Easton typed and deleted 3 different replies before setting the phone down. He couldn't explain without outing himself completely, and right now that felt impossible. Work offered no escape either. As a junior associate at a small law firm, Easton spent the day buried in paperwork, but every contract clause reminded him of the promises Wyatt had broken. By lunch, he found himself walking along the Riverwalk, the cold wind off Lake Michigan matching the chill inside him. He thought about calling Wyatt, but pride stopped him. Instead, he replayed the conversation in his head, wondering how someone who had held him through his mother's cancer scare could so easily pretend they were nothing. The betrayal stung deeper because it wasn't just denial, it was erasure performed in front of the people whose approval Easton had craved his whole life. His parents still asked when he would bring home a nice girl, settle down, give them grandkids. The traditional script they had written for him never included a man like Wyatt or the love Easton felt. Days blurred into weeks. Wyatt sent a single text 2 days later, an apology that felt more like an excuse. Easton deleted it without replying. He threw himself into work, staying late at the office, volunteering for every pro bono case that crossed his desk. The distraction helped, but at night the emptiness returned. One evening he found an old photo on his phone, the 2 of them at a Cubs game, hats pulled low, arms brushing just enough to feel electric. He stared at it until the screen dimmed, then deleted it too. His best friend Marcus noticed the change first. They met for coffee at their usual spot near the Art Institute. Marcus, a graphic designer with a sharp eye for details, slid a latte across the table. You look like you haven't slept in a month. Spill. Easton hesitated, then told him everything: the party, the denial, the fight. Marcus listened without interrupting, his expression shifting from surprise to anger. That's messed up, man. You deserve better. For the first time, Easton felt seen, truly seen. Marcus didn't offer empty advice, just sat with him in the silence until Easton could breathe again. Yet even that friendship carried its own weight. Marcus had come out years ago and built a life around it. Easton admired him, but the contrast only highlighted his own fear. What if coming out cost him everything: his family, his career, the fragile approval he still chased? The question haunted him through long runs along the lakefront and quiet nights staring at the ceiling. By the end of the month, Easton made a decision. He applied for a transfer to the firm's Los Angeles office, anything to put distance between himself and the memories. The partners approved, quickly impressed by his sudden surge in productivity. Packing boxes in his apartment felt like shedding skin. He left Chicago on a gray Tuesday morning, the city skyline shrinking in the rearview mirror. Wyatt never called again. In Los Angeles, the sun felt relentless. Easton rented a small studio near the beach and started over. The new office buzzed with energy different from Chicago's measured pace. He dove into cases involving housing rights and discrimination, pouring every ounce of his pain into the work. Colleagues noticed his focus, calling him driven. Easton smiled at the label, but inside he knew it was survival. One Saturday, he wandered into a small gallery in Silver Lake, drawn by colorful abstracts that reminded him of hope. There he met Lena, a curator with warm brown eyes and an easy laugh. They talked for hours about art and justice and the courage it took to live authentically. Lena didn't push, but her stories of her own journey coming out to a traditional Mexican family planted a seed. For the first time, Easton wondered if acceptance wasn't something you waited for, but something you claimed. Still, the wound lingered. Late nights he scrolled through social media, seeing Wyatt's posts, carefully curated images of client dinners and weekend hikes, always alone. Easton told himself he didn't care, but the ache remained. He threw himself harder into work, taking on a high-profile case, defending a young man fired for being gay. The courtroom became his battlefield, and for the first time since the birthday he felt purpose. Months passed. Easton built new routines: morning runs along Venice Beach, Friday happy hours with colleagues. Marcus flew out for a weekend, and they hiked Runyon Canyon, talking late into the night. "You're healing," Marcus said one evening as they watched the city lights. Easton wanted to believe him. Yet every victory felt incomplete without someone to share it with. He dated casually, a few coffee meetups that never sparked, but nothing compared to the connection he had lost. Then one ordinary Tuesday, the past resurfaced. An email from his sister arrived with a photo of the family at Christmas. In the background, a familiar figure lingered: Wyatt, standing awkwardly beside Easton's father. The caption read, "Wyatt stopped by, said he was in town for work. Miss you, little brother." Easton's stomach twisted. He stared at the screen until the words blurred. Why was Wyatt still orbiting his family? The question gnawed at him through another sleepless night. He didn't reply to the email. Instead, he opened his laptop and drafted a new case brief, pouring the unresolved anger into legal arguments. The work grounded him. By morning, he had filed the motion and felt a small sense of control returning. Little did he know that single email was only the beginning of a thread that would eventually pull his carefully rebuilt life into an unexpected collision with everything he thought he had left behind. The courtroom in downtown Los Angeles hummed with quiet tension as Easton presented his closing argument. 3 years had passed since he left Chicago, and the man who once crumbled under a single denial now commanded attention with quiet authority. The judge nodded occasionally while the opposing counsel shifted uncomfortably. When the gavel fell in his client's favor, Easton allowed himself the smallest smile. This was the life he had built piece by piece. Outside the courthouse, Lena waited with 2 iced coffees. Their friendship had deepened into something steady and safe, though never romantic. She handed him a cup. "Another win. You're on fire lately." Easton accepted it gratefully, the cool plastic grounding him. They walked toward Grand Park, the palm trees swaying in the breeze. Lena had become his confidant, the one person who knew the full story of Wyatt without judgment. "You ever think about reaching out?" she asked gently. Easton shook his head. Some doors stay closed for a reason. Yet the universe seemed determined to test that belief. Back at the office, his secretary flagged an incoming message. The firm had been invited to partner on a major civil rights initiative in Chicago. The lead attorney from the partnering organization, Wyatt Thompson. Easton stared at the name until the letters blurred. His pulse quickened. The promotion he had worked for, the stability he had clawed back, everything suddenly felt precarious. He could decline, of course, but the partners would notice. Reputation mattered in this world. That evening he called Marcus. The conversation stretched long into the night. "Go back on your terms," Marcus advised. "Show them the man you've become." Easton hung up and stared at the city lights beyond his window. The next morning he booked the flight. Chicago greeted him with the same biting wind he remembered. The hotel room felt too familiar, the skyline a reminder of nights spent wondering what if. The first meeting took place in a sleek conference room overlooking the river. When Wyatt walked in tailored suit and confident stride, Easton felt the old wound reopen. Wyatt's eyes widened for a split second, then settled into professional calm. "Easton, it's been a while." The handshake was brief, electric. They spent the next hour discussing strategy, case files, and timelines. Wyatt's voice remained steady, but Easton caught the subtle glances, the way his fingers tapped the table when no one else noticed. After the meeting, Wyatt lingered. "Can we talk? Off the record." Easton wanted to refuse, but curiosity won. They found a quiet corner in the lobby. "I messed up," Wyatt said without preamble. "That night at your party I was scared. My father had just been diagnosed. The firm was pushing family values. I thought if I kept us hidden I could protect us both." Easton listened, the words washing over him like cold water. Wyatt continued, "I never stopped thinking about you. Every promotion, every milestone felt empty." The confession hung between them. Easton wanted to believe him, yet the memory of that birthday laughter still echoed. "You erased me in front of my family," he replied, voice low. Wyatt winced. "I know. And I've regretted it every day." They parted with nothing resolved, but the air between them had shifted. Back in his hotel room, Easton paced. Sleep evaded him. He opened his laptop and researched Wyatt's career trajectory, impressive but marked by quiet rumors of personal struggles. The next day, the meetings continued, professional on the surface yet charged underneath. During a lunch break, Wyatt slid a small envelope across the table. Inside was a handwritten note from 3 years ago, never sent. "I love you. I'm sorry." Easton's throat tightened. The week unfolded in a blur of negotiations and stolen conversations. One evening, after a long strategy session, they walked along the Riverwalk, the same path Easton had wandered after the breakup. Wyatt stopped under a street lamp. "I came out to my family last year. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary." The revelation landed softly. Easton searched his face for truth and found it. Yet trust remained fragile. Meanwhile, back home, Lena texted daily, checking in. Marcus called once, warning him not to rush. "You've built something real. Don't let the past undo it." Easton appreciated the anchors, but the pull toward Wyatt grew stronger each day. Old feelings resurfaced, mixed with new respect for the man who had finally faced his fears. By the end of the week, the partnership was sealed. As Easton prepared to fly back, Wyatt caught him in the lobby. "I'm moving to LA next month. New role with the organization." The news sent Easton's thoughts spinning. He boarded the plane with more questions than answers, wondering if second chances were possible or if some wounds ran too deep to heal. Los Angeles welcomed him back with sunshine and possibility. He threw himself into the new project, the collaboration forcing daily contact with Wyatt via video calls. Each conversation peeled back another layer, revealing the growth both men had achieved apart. Wyatt shared stories of therapy and family reconciliation. Easton opened up about the cases that had healed him, the clients whose courage mirrored his own journey. One Friday evening after a particularly grueling call, Wyatt appeared at Easton's door unannounced. Rain clung to his coat. "I couldn't wait another day." They stood facing each other, the city humming below. Easton stepped aside, letting him in. They talked for hours, the conversation flowing from regret to hope. When Wyatt finally reached for his hand, Easton didn't pull away. The touch felt like coming home, yet different, wiser. Still, complications loomed. Easton's family planned a visit to LA, unaware of the history. His mother had hinted at setting him up with a colleague's daughter. The pressure resurfaced, bringing old anxieties. Wyatt sensed the tension. "We don't have to hide this time," he said one night as they cooked dinner together. Easton wanted to believe him, but the fear lingered, a shadow from the past. Work brought its own challenges. A high-stakes case involving workplace discrimination tested their collaboration. Late nights at the office led to shared meals and quiet admissions. Wyatt revealed the full extent of his struggle after the birthday, the depression, the therapy, the decision to come out. Easton shared his own path, the loneliness, the drive that had propelled him forward. Each truth strengthened the fragile bridge between them. Yet not everything was smooth. An old friend from Chicago, Marcus's ex, reached out with gossip claiming Wyatt had dated others during their separation. The misunderstanding flared into their first real argument since reconnecting. Easton confronted him, voice tight with doubt. Wyatt explained the casual dates had been attempts to move on, never serious. The honesty hurt but also healed. They chose to trust again, a deliberate act of courage. As months passed, the relationship deepened quietly. They attended gallery openings, hiked in the hills, and supported each other through demanding cases. Easton introduced Wyatt to Lena, who welcomed him with open arms. Family visits remained complicated, but Easton found strength in small, honest conversations, gradually shifting the narrative at home. His sister suspected something and offered quiet support, surprising him with her acceptance. The turning point came during a major gala for the civil rights organization. Easton stood on stage accepting an award for his advocacy work, the spotlight warm and validating. In the audience, Wyatt watched, pride shining in his eyes. Later that night, under the stars on Easton's balcony, Wyatt knelt. "I lost you once. I won't make that mistake again. Will you build a future with me?" Easton pulled him up, tears mixing with laughter. The yes came easily this time, born of growth and hard-won trust. Yet life rarely offered perfect endings. A new conflict emerged when Wyatt's firm faced internal backlash over his public relationship. The pressure tested their bond, forcing Easton to confront whether love could withstand external storms. They leaned on each other, making decisions together, proving that true partnership meant facing consequences side by side. The months following the proposal unfolded like a carefully crafted argument in court, each piece of evidence building toward something lasting. Easton and Wyatt settled into a shared apartment overlooking the Pacific, the rhythm of their days, a blend of early morning runs and late-night strategy sessions. Work remained intense, the joint project demanding long hours, but now they faced it together. Colleagues noticed the change, the subtle glances, the easy camaraderie that spoke of deeper connection. No one commented directly, professionalism held, but the quiet support felt like validation. Easton's family visit arrived in spring. His parents and sister landed at LAX, wide-eyed at the palm trees and endless blue sky. Easton had prepared, carefully choosing neutral topics at first. Dinner the first night felt tense, his mother asking the usual questions about dating. Wyatt sat beside him, hand resting lightly on his knee under the table, a silent promise. When the conversation turned personal, Easton took a breath. "Mom, Dad, there's something I need to tell you." The words he had practiced for years finally emerged. The reaction was not perfect. His father stared at his plate for a long moment while his mother blinked back tears. Questions followed, some painful but none cruel. Wyatt spoke calmly, sharing his own journey. By dessert, the atmosphere had softened slightly. His sister hugged him tightly later, whispering, "I'm proud of you." It wasn't full acceptance yet, but it was a beginning, the first crack in the wall of expectations that had once felt insurmountable. Back at work, a new challenge tested them. A major client threatened to pull funding citing traditional values after learning of their relationship. The board meeting turned heated. Easton argued passionately, his voice steady as he laid out the legal and ethical implications. Wyatt stood beside him, adding data and personal insight. Together they swayed the room. The client stayed and the organization emerged stronger. The victory tasted sweeter because they had earned it as equals. Yet success brought unexpected complications. Old friends from Chicago resurfaced, some supportive, others carrying judgment. One evening Marcus flew in for a visit. The three men shared stories late into the night, laughter mixing with honest reflections on how far they had come. Marcus clapped Wyatt on the shoulder. "You finally got it right." The moment felt like closure, a bridge between past and present. As summer approached, they planned a small trip to Big Sur, the rugged coast offering space to breathe. Hiking the trails, Wyatt paused at an overlook, the ocean stretching endlessly below. "Remember when I thought hiding would protect us?" Easton nodded, taking his hand. "We both learned the hard way that truth sets you free." They stood in silence, the wind carrying away old regrets. That night, around a campfire, they talked about the future children, perhaps adoption, careers that aligned with their values. The conversation felt natural, unforced. Returning to LA, they faced another hurdle. Wyatt's younger brother reached out, struggling with his own identity. The call came late one night, tears evident even over the phone. Wyatt listened for hours, offering guidance without pressure. Easton watched from the doorway, heart swelling with pride. The next weekend they drove to Chicago together, the trip a chance to support Wyatt's family while reinforcing their own bond. The conversations were raw but healing. Wyatt's brother left with new hope, and the brothers' relationship grew stronger. Fall brought the gala where Easton had received his award. This year they attended as an official couple. Walking the red carpet hand in hand felt surreal. Photographers flashed cameras, questions remained respectful. Inside, Easton delivered a keynote speech on identity and justice, his words drawing standing applause. Wyatt waited backstage, eyes shining. "You were incredible." The praise meant everything. Yet not all reactions were positive. An anonymous email arrived at the firm questioning Easton's impartiality, citing his personal life. The partners investigated, quickly clearing him, but the incident stung. Easton and Wyatt discussed it openly, choosing transparency over silence. They issued a joint statement within the organization affirming commitment to equality. The response from colleagues and clients was overwhelmingly supportive, turning potential weakness into strength. Winter holidays arrived with new traditions. They hosted a small gathering, Lena, Marcus, and a few close friends, filling the apartment with laughter and warmth. Easton's sister joined via video call, sharing updates from Ohio. His parents sent a card, carefully worded but sincere. The progress felt gradual but real. Under the tree, Wyatt presented Easton with a simple keychain engraved with their initials. "For all the doors we open together now." Easton pulled him close, the embrace carrying years of unspoken promises. As the new year began, fresh challenges emerged. A landmark case landed on Easton's desk involving a young man facing discrimination eerily similar to their own past struggles. Wyatt joined the team pro bono, their combined expertise making a powerful difference. Late nights at the office turned into strategy sessions and quiet affirmations of love. The case went to trial, and they won, setting precedent that would help countless others. The courtroom victory felt personal, a full-circle moment from denial to advocacy. Through it all, their relationship deepened. Small gestures mattered most, Wyatt making coffee exactly how Easton liked it, Easton leaving encouraging notes before big meetings. They argued sometimes over trivial things, but always resolved them with honesty. Growth had taught them that love required work, not perfection. Spring brought reflection. Easton stood on the balcony one morning, watching the sunrise, Wyatt's arms around him. "I never imagined we'd be here," he admitted. Wyatt kissed his temple. "Neither did I. But I'm grateful every day." The words carried the weight of their journey, the heartbreak, the distance, the hard choices that had led them back together stronger. Yet life continued its unpredictable course. A new opportunity arose. Wyatt offered a leadership role back in Chicago. The decision loomed large. They discussed it for weeks, weighing roots against growth. In the end, they chose to stay in LA, building their life on the foundation they had created together. The choice felt right, a testament to the future they were crafting. As summer returned, they planned a quiet commitment ceremony on the beach, close friends and family invited. The day dawned clear, the ocean sparkling. Vows exchanged under a simple arch spoke of resilience and choice. No grand gestures, just honest words from two men who had learned the true meaning of acceptance. The celebration lasted late into the evening, laughter and toasts filling the air. Looking around at the faces, Easton felt a profound sense of peace. The boy who had once been denied now stood whole and loved. Yet he knew the journey wasn't over. Growth continued daily. The commitment ceremony marked more than a celebration, it became the foundation for everything that followed. Easton and Wyatt returned to daily life with renewed purpose, their shared home, a sanctuary of understanding. Work continued to demand much of them, but now they protected evenings for each other, cooking together or walking along the shore talking about cases or dreams. The balance felt earned. A new chapter opened when they decided to foster a teenager named Alex who had faced rejection at home for being gay. The placement came through the organization they both supported. Alex arrived wary and quiet but gradually opened up during evening dinners and weekend hikes. Watching Wyatt patiently explain his own past struggles, Easton saw the man he loved in a new light, compassionate and steady. Alex thrived under their guidance, eventually finding his voice in school advocacy projects. The experience deepened their bond, teaching them that family could be chosen and built. Meanwhile, Easton's career reached new heights. He was offered a partnership at the firm, a recognition of years of dedication. The announcement party filled their apartment with colleagues and friends. Wyatt stood proudly beside him, toasting to the future. Yet success brought scrutiny. A national news outlet requested an interview highlighting their story as an example of resilience in the legal field. Easton hesitated, the visibility felt exposing. Wyatt encouraged him. "We've hidden enough. This could help others." The interview aired weeks later, honest and unfiltered. The response was overwhelming. Messages poured in from young men across the country sharing similar journeys. The attention also stirred old ghosts. Wyatt's former boss from Chicago contacted him seeking reconciliation and offering a consulting role. The call stirred mixed emotions. Wyatt discussed it with Easton late into the night. Together they decided to meet the man in neutral territory. The conversation proved healing, closing a chapter neither had realized still lingered. Forgiveness came not easily but genuinely. Family dynamics continued evolving. Easton's parents visited again, this time staying longer. His father joined them for a baseball game, the three men bonding over shared memories and new understanding. His mother confided in Easton during a quiet walk that she had joined a support group for parents. The admission brought tears and relief. Small steps accumulated into real change. His sister announced her engagement and asked both men to stand in the wedding party, a public affirmation that meant the world. Challenges persisted, of course. A difficult case involving workplace harassment tested Easton's limits. The client, a young professional much like Easton had been years ago, faced powerful opposition. Wyatt provided behind-the-scenes support, reviewing documents and offering emotional grounding when the pressure mounted. The trial lasted weeks, ending in a favorable settlement. The client hugged Easton afterward, whispering thanks that echoed the gratitude Easton once wished he could give his younger self. Through it all, their relationship remained the constant. They celebrated anniversaries quietly, the original birthday now transformed into a day of reflection rather than pain. On the 5th anniversary since the denial, Wyatt surprised Easton with a trip back to Chicago. They visited the old apartment building, now renovated, and walked the Riverwalk where so many difficult conversations had occurred. Standing in the same spot, Wyatt said, "Thank you for giving us another chance." Easton pulled him close, the city lights reflecting in the water like stars of possibility. Professional lives intertwined further when they co-authored a paper on legal protections for LGBTQ+ employees. The publication gained traction, leading to speaking engagements across the country. Traveling together felt like an adventure, each city offering new perspectives and deeper conversations. In New York, they attended a pride parade, marching hand in hand, the energy electric and affirming. The experience reminded them how far society had come and how much work remained. Back home, Alex graduated high school with honors. The ceremony filled them with pride. Watching him accept his diploma, Easton realized the impact they were making, extending beyond their own lives. Alex hugged them both afterward, calling them the fathers he never had. The moment crystallized their decision to pursue adoption formally. The process began paperwork and home studies, but they faced it united. Unexpected support came from unlikely places. An old colleague from Easton's Chicago days reached out, apologizing for not speaking up years earlier. The conversation brought closure and new friendship. Wyatt's brother visited during summer break, staying with them and sharing updates on his own journey. The extended family they had built felt rich and authentic. Yet life tested them again when Wyatt received concerning health news, a routine checkup revealing elevated markers requiring further tests. The weeks of waiting brought anxiety but also profound closeness. Easton stayed by his side through appointments and sleepless nights, reminding him of their shared strength. Results came back clear, a false alarm, but the scare reinforced what mattered most. They emerged more grateful, intentional about time together. Fall brought the adoption hearing. Standing before the judge with Alex beside them, Easton felt the full weight of their journey. The gavel fell, granting the petition. Tears flowed freely. That evening they celebrated with a simple dinner, the three of them now officially a family. Alex's smile lit the room brighter than any city skyline. Winter holidays took on new meaning. They hosted a larger gathering this year, including Easton's parents and sister. Laughter filled the home, stories shared without reservation. Wyatt's brother joined via video, adding to the joy. The tree glowed with ornaments collected over years, each one a memory of growth. As the clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve, Easton and Wyatt stepped onto the balcony, Alex asleep inside. Fireworks lit the sky. "To the life we chose," Wyatt whispered. Easton kissed him, the moment perfect in its simplicity. The year ahead promised new challenges, but they faced them ready. Professional opportunities expanded. Easton was invited to teach a seminar at a local university on ethics and identity. Wyatt joined as guest lecturer, their combined perspectives resonating with students. The experience reminded them why they fought. The younger generation carried hope they had once struggled to find. Spring arrived with renewal. They took a family vacation to Hawaii, the beaches offering space for reflection. Alex learned to surf while Easton and Wyatt walked hand in hand along the shore, planning the future. Conversations turned to expanding their advocacy, perhaps starting a foundation. The idea took root, growing stronger each day. Returning home, they began laying groundwork, meeting with potential partners and drafting mission statements. The work felt purposeful, an extension of their personal story into something larger. Alex contributed ideas, his youthful perspective invaluable. Summer brought the foundation's launch, a modest event attended by friends, colleagues, and supporters. Easton stood at the podium, Wyatt and Alex beside him. His speech spoke of denial and discovery of love that refused to stay hidden. Applause thundered. The organization officially began its work, providing resources for young people facing similar journeys. Through every milestone, the core remained their love, tested and refined. Easton often reflected on that fateful birthday, the moment that had broken him yet ultimately freed him. Wyatt carried his own lessons, the courage required to step into light. Together they proved that healing was possible when two people chose each other daily. The foundation quickly gained momentum. Donations arrived from unexpected sources, former clients, colleagues moved by their story. Easton and Wyatt balanced leadership roles with full-time careers, the days long but fulfilling. Alex thrived in high school, becoming an active volunteer himself, speaking at youth events with confidence that filled his fathers with pride. A major grant opportunity arose, requiring a presentation in New York. The family traveled together, turning the trip into a mini vacation. Alex explored museums while Easton and Wyatt prepared in their hotel room late into the night. The presentation went flawlessly, the panel impressed by both data and personal testimony. The grant was approved on the spot. Celebrating afterward, they walked through Central Park, the city buzzing around them. Wyatt took Easton's hand. "We did this together." The simple statement carried profound truth. Back in LA, challenges tested their resilience again. A conservative media outlet ran a piece questioning the foundation's work, framing it as controversial. The article sparked online debate, some hateful comments directed personally. Easton felt the old fear resurface, but Wyatt reminded him, "We've faced worse. This is just noise." They responded with transparency, posting a video addressing concerns directly. Support flooded in, outweighing the criticism. The experience strengthened their resolve. Family life deepened. Easton's parents visited more frequently, his father even joining a virtual support group session. The progress felt miraculous compared to the silence of years past. His sister married in Ohio, the whole family attending, including Wyatt and Alex. The wedding became a celebration of acceptance, Easton walking his sister down the aisle while Wyatt cheered from the front row. Professionally, Easton received another honor, induction into a prestigious legal society. The ceremony in Washington, D.C., brought them to the nation's capital. Standing on stage, he dedicated the award to the young man he once was and to all those still fighting. Wyatt's proud smile from the audience anchored him. Afterward, they toured the monuments, reflecting on freedom and the ongoing fight for equality. Summer brought a family trip to Yellowstone, the vast wilderness offering perspective. Hiking trails together, they talked about dreams, Alex expressing interest in environmental law. Easton and Wyatt exchanged glances, knowing their influence had taken root. Evenings around the campfire, stories flowed, laughter echoing through the trees. The trip reinforced their bond as a family unit, unbreakable. Fall returned with new responsibilities. The foundation expanded, adding staff and programs. Easton stepped back slightly from the firm to focus more on advocacy, while Wyatt took on additional leadership. The transition required adjustments, but they navigated it with open communication. Alex started college applications, the process bringing both excitement and nostalgia. A surprise reunion occurred when an old friend from Chicago contacted them. The man had seen their story online and wanted to apologize for past judgments. They met for coffee, the conversation healing old wounds. Forgiveness extended outward, rippling through their lives. Winter brought reflection. During the holidays, they revisited the beach where they had committed to each other. Walking the sand, Wyatt stopped. "Every year gets better because of you." Easton pulled him close, the waves providing soundtrack to their gratitude. Alex joined them later, the three building a sandcastle symbolic of the life they continued constructing. The new year started with momentum. A national conference invited them as keynote speakers. Preparing the talk together, they wove personal narrative with practical advice. The audience responded with standing ovations, many attendees sharing stories afterward. The experience reaffirmed their path. Back home, a health scare with Alex, minor but frightening, reminded them of priorities. Hospital waits and follow-up appointments brought them closer as a family. Alex recovered fully, but the incident prompted deeper conversations about vulnerability and support. Spring arrived with growth. The foundation launched a mentorship program pairing youth with professionals. Easton and Wyatt participated, personally mentoring several young men, their guidance drawn from hard-earned wisdom. Watching men's flourish brought profound satisfaction. Summer brought travel again, this time to San Francisco for Pride. Marching with Alex between them, they felt the full power of community. The energy carried them home, inspired to expand programs further. As fall approached, they faced a significant decision. Wyatt received an offer to lead a larger organization in Seattle. The opportunity tempted but required relocation. Family discussions lasted weeks, Alex weighing college options. Ultimately, they chose to stay committed to their roots in LA, the decision strengthening their unity. The year culminated in another milestone, the foundation's first anniversary gala. Easton stood on stage again, this time with Wyatt and Alex beside him. His speech reflected on the journey from denial to leadership, from isolation to family. Applause thundered. Looking out at the crowd, he saw faces of those they had helped. The moment felt complete. Yet life continued evolving. New cases, new challenges, new joys awaited. Through it all, Easton and Wyatt remained each other's constant proof that love, when nurtured, could overcome any obstacle. The gala's success propelled the foundation into its next phase. New partnerships formed, programs expanded, and impact multiplied. Easton and Wyatt balanced the growth with family life, attending Alex's college orientation together, proud parents in every sense. The campus tour brought reflections on their own younger selves, the paths once uncertain now clear. A major breakthrough came when their advocacy work influenced new legislation in California. Invited to Sacramento for the signing ceremony, they stood together as the governor put pen to paper. The moment carried historical weight, years of effort crystallized in law. Back home, they celebrated quietly, the three of them toasting with sparkling cider, Alex joking about future law school plans. Challenges never fully disappeared. An unexpected lawsuit targeted the foundation, testing their resources and resolve. Easton led the defense, Wyatt providing strategic support. Late nights and tense meetings tested their patience but also highlighted their partnership. The case resolved favorably, precedent set once more. The victory felt earned, a testament to perseverance. Family ties strengthened further. Easton's parents moved closer to LA part-time, seeking more time with their grandson. Holidays became lively gatherings, laughter and stories filling the home. Wyatt's brother graduated college, joining them for celebrations, the extended family, now a source of joy rather than pressure. Professionally, both men received recognition. Easton named Attorney of the Year, Wyatt honored for leadership in nonprofit work. The awards ceremonies provided moments to reflect publicly on their shared journey. Speeches touched on love, acceptance, and the power of choosing truth. Audiences responded with emotion, many moved to action. As another year turned, they planned a family trip to Europe, the first major international adventure. Paris, Rome, and Barcelona offered new perspectives, art, history, and culture enriching their conversations. Alex thrived exploring independently, while Easton and Wyatt stole quiet moments in cafes, reaffirming their commitment. The trip solidified their family bond, creating memories to last lifetimes. Returning home, they faced the reality of Alex leaving for college. The transition brought mixed emotions, pride and nostalgia. Helping him move into the dorm, they hugged tightly, promising frequent visits. The empty nest phase began, but they filled it with renewed focus on each other and the foundation. A new project emerged, collaborating with schools to implement inclusive curricula. The work felt vital, reaching the next generation early. Easton and Wyatt led workshops, sharing personal insights that resonated deeply. Feedback from teachers and students confirmed the impact. Winter brought quiet reflection. During a snowless California Christmas, they decorated simply, focusing on presence rather than perfection. Gifts exchanged included a framed photo from their commitment ceremony, a reminder of beginnings. The evening ended with stories of the past and dreams for the future. Spring arrived with renewal. Alex came home for break, the house alive again with laughter. Together they attended a local pride event, marching as a family, the symbolism powerful. The day ended with ice cream and conversations about growth. Summer brought another milestone, the foundation's expansion into neighboring states. The launch event drew national attention, Easton and Wyatt speaking to larger audiences than ever. The responsibility felt heavy yet empowering. As fall approached, they celebrated 10 years since that fateful birthday. A private dinner marked the occasion, Wyatt raising a glass. "To the man who taught me courage." Easton replied, "To the man who showed me love was worth fighting for." The words carried the weight of their shared history. Life continued its beautiful, unpredictable rhythm. New challenges would arise, new victories would follow. But together with the family they had built, they faced everything with hope. Looking back, Easton realized the denial that once shattered him had ultimately freed him, leading to a life richer than he could have imagined. Wyatt had found his own redemption through honesty and growth. Their story proved that acceptance began within and rippled outward, changing everything. True or false? A single moment of denial can permanently destroy the possibility of lasting love and self-acceptance?